Pre-game here at Linden Sports Centre, counting down to NPL men's first grade on your Good Friday afternoon, a 1:30 p.m. scheduled kickoff between Sydney FC and the Wollongong Wolves, not far away from starting. Teams in the tunnel for this NPL men's first grade game in New South Wales on your Good Friday, as the Sydney FC and Wollongong Wolves walk out of the tunnel onto Rockdale Linden Sports Centre for the first game of the long weekend. Pleasure to have your company. My name's Teo Pellizzeri. One of two games today, the other kicking off at 6 p.m. later this evening. This game is absolutely vital as far as the table is concerned for both sides, even though it is only game 11 of the season. For Sydney FC, they'll kick off in 10th place today on 12 points. If they do win, they would move to 15 points and a share of 6th with Manly United, albeit well behind on goal difference. And for the Wollongong Wolves, they will kick off today on 13 points, one spot above Sydney FC, or two spots above Sydney FC, I should say, in 9th place, and they can jump up to 16 points with a win, and that would put them in 6th ahead of the rest of the teams playing this weekend. Tonight's other game is Manly United against RPL Leichhardt. That is at Cromer Park from 6 p.m. Let's get into the teams as both captains meet for the coin toss. Sydney FC, the home side for this one. Gus Herfsloot, their goalkeeper. 6, Tyler Williams. 14, Jared Middleton. 18, Alan Harbas. 21, Zach DeJesus. 25, Jaden Kucharski. 27, Lachlan Middleton. 29, Joe Lacey. 33, Marin France. 37, Will Kennedy. And 39 is Dylan Rose. And they are coached by Jimmy Van Vieren. For the Wollongong Wolves, Oliver Yates, their goalkeeper. 2, Harrison Bunel. 5, Banri Kanazumi. 6, Jamin Astostopoulos. Number 7 is Woon Sub Sim. 8, Sebastian Duarte. 17, Marcus Beattie. 21, Nicholas Olsen. 24, Lachlan Scott. 25, Alex Mashavecchio. And 29, Ben Jarson. Today's referee is Reece Edwards, and he's about to hand the ball over to Sydney FC in their sky blue home kit to kick this one off. So there'll be plenty of interest around the rest of the league in this one. First game of the weekend. Not often you get a 1:30 kickoff on a Friday, but it is, of course, a public holiday. And we're underway at Linden for Sydney FC against the Wollongong Wolves. We've passed 1/3 of the way through the 30-game NPL Men's New South Wales home and away season. And these two teams are mid-table at present, certainly looking up the league rather than over their shoulder, given the amount of the season to go. There'd still be reasonable optimism from both outfits about their prospects for the campaign ahead. Half-hearted handball shouts against Jared Middleton as he plays the ball over to the left, and now Lachlan Middleton gets his first touch, wearing the number 27. Jared Middleton again on the ball here. Tyler Williams back to his goalkeeper, Gus Herfsloot, who has arguably been the form player of the competition across all teams at all positions in the last 2 weeks. He's come off a couple of stunning individual performances in goal. I'm sure he'll be hoping to have considerably less work today. Wollongong will be hoping to put an end to his good run of making some incredible saves. Of course, they do have one of their attacking guns, Raphael Liai, suspended today. But it certainly didn't prove a hindrance to them against the Sutherland Sharks last weekend, as they, in spite of his red card, went on to win quite handsomely. So they'll be hoping that Lachlan Scott, leading the line today in the number 24, can continue his good scoring form. Free kick here. Kanazumi is going to drive it long and diagonal. It's allowed to bounce. Marcus Beattie herring after the ball into just a little bit of shadow that we currently have, barely taking about 2% of the pitch, I would say. Even though it's only mid-20s on the weather forecast, it's going to feel a lot warmer in direct sunlight, barely a cloud in the sky, and also playing on the synthetic. Early long throw here. Woon Sub Sim is going to hurl it in. Out of the shadows the ball comes. Flick header on. Middleton deals with it at the near post, and then it's Lachlan Middleton who volleys on after a header from Jared. And it's straight back out from whence it came. So another long throw from Woon Sub Sim. This one's allowed to bounce in the area. Scott's there, and a good save by Herfslet. Well, there's a reason he's the form player in the competition, Gus Herfslet. He's come up with an excellent save to deny Lachlan Scott in the opening exchanges of the match. So a corner kick, the first of the game for Wollongong. Bit of a cooling breeze coming across the ground. Corner into the near post, allowed to tumble through the box. A high, indecisive clearance, but that gets the ball a little bit further away. Another 10 metres for Sydney FC's cause. Now they can try to break, but Jaden Pacharski is outpointed by Oliver Yates coming out of his line. And the Sydney FC defence able to handle the first corner of the game. Of course, this Wollongong team, when they had Jake True and Lachlan Scott last season, had a reputation for a bit of bash and crash and being a very physical side, and they still have a good aerial presence with Banri Kanaizumi whenever he gets forward. And set pieces as well, the centre back. Long ball here is going to be easily collected by Yates. Vecchio, Kanaizumi. Sending it out to the left. Sebastian Duarte able to keep it moving. Nick Olsen holds off two opponents, and as he collapses to the ground, no free kick. Sydney FC not able to make a great deal of progress though. Whistle's gone, and a free kick to the Wolves, mid-range. And taken quickly, but the referee's going to say to Olsen and also Woon Sub Sim that they had to wait for the whistle. And there is that whistle. So now the free kick can be taken. Olsen can't beat the near defender as it's headed out of the penalty box. Mashavecchio chases it down. Wollongong, having made the brightest start here, will have another set piece from almost a mirror position on the right side of the surface now. And that is going to be the territory of Woon Sub Sim to stand over this opportunity. Looking for a bit more elevation compared to the previous free kick just a moment ago. No time wasted. And this one is a teasing ball, and it requires a clearance by Middleton behind for a corner, which will be Wollongong's second of the game. So territorially, they're right on top. It's only early days here at Linden. Wollongong would love an early goal, continue the momentum that they built up against Sutherland in the second half last weekend. So here comes the corner, and a good header away. It's all Wollongong to pick things back up. It was Alan Harbas who read the ball best in the air, but there's going to be more aerial defending required on this cross. Olsen against De Jesus. Pushed it beyond Mashavecchio, and it's going to be another corner. So Sydney FC pinned in their defensive half at present and struggling to find a circuit breaker to get out. So is it third time lucky for the Wolves with this set piece onslaught that they're currently unleashing? First head, Alan Harbas once again. So he's read the ball very well on 2 corners in a row. And Agnostopoulos for Wollongong here, weaving through the right of midfield. Trying to slide it out to the right, but Sydney FC saw it coming. Williams. Now a chance for Lachlan Middleton to launch from defensive midfield. He decides against it, goes back to Jared Middleton. Looking for a touch is Dylan Rose. Now Williams. Sydney advancing very slowly at the moment, which is uncharacteristic of them. Been an academy team that's had a reputation for slick ball movement, particularly on the counter-attack. So Wollongong resume attacking. Can they get an early goal to show for their control of the contest? Herfslet, attempted clearance, straight into traffic, a series of ricochets, and it's fallen kindly, and that allows Sydney FC to escape through the left now. Zumi. Long clearance from Bunel. Williams. Sydney just trying to turn it into a midfield battle at the moment rather than a defensive exercise, and they're starting to play a few more ambitious passes. Kucharski. Rose sends it out to the left. Kucharski, a quick one too, and now Alan Harbas is offside, but that's as far forward as we've seen Sydney FC advance so far in this game, which is almost 10 minutes old. Crucially for them though, still scoreless. So restart taken by Yates. Solid header coming through from Jared Middleton. Battle for possession in midfield. Harbas dashing after the ball. Has to square it to Kucharski, and the ball is behind for a corner kick, of course. Jaden Kucharski. Frankly, it's still a little surprising to see him playing NPL in 2025. He's more than proven himself at this level. Arguably proven himself at A-League level with some of the goals and performances he's scored, but such as the wealth of attacking choices that Sydney FC has, he finds himself back in the NPL this weekend. Quick 1-2 from the corner kick. Joe Lacey with a return pass. Deflected, and attempt to clear is blocked, so Sydney FC stay on the attack. Oh, France wrong-footed by that pass though. Mashavecchio, and is it the Wolves who can counter? Olsen, an early ball here. Beattie often chasing. Marcus Beattie is having to work his way out to the right, and he had 2 defenders for company. One of them the backtracking Lachlan Middleton. And ultimately, it is a Sydney FC throw. Long throw, but straight onto a Wollongong head. Bunel. Long ball by wing sub Sim. Herfslet. He's going to have Mashavecchio try to press him all the way here, so he'll keep it moving. And now he's got a bit more breathing space here, the goalkeeper. Kucharski, bit of byplay off the ball. Joe Lacey took a tumble after a tangle, but the referee thought little of it. Perhaps didn't see it. Must have been only caught the aftermath rather than the point of contact. De Jesus. See Wollongong advancing numbers here, trying to set a trap. Sydney FC back pass on target all the way back to the goalkeeper, but Herfslet confident in his feet. You can see there are plenty of confident players on the ball, and they've been able to untangle themselves from the Wollongong press and now look to advance into the attacking half. De Jesus, one of the players getting forward. Only Harbas waiting for him in the middle at present. Now numbers arrive at the edge of the box. De Jesus finds one of those numbers where players are lining up. Now De Jesus swings it across. Harbas reaching for the ball. Couldn't quite flick it over the shoulder towards the target. Instead, it just continued on its way through the penalty area and ultimately out on the opposite side of the pitch. Olsen, very busy in midfield. Beattie, back to Olsen, tough pass to Trap, and he does win a foul, so he's done well out of that situation. Ryan Grieve, the Wollongong Wolves coach, hasn't been hugely vocal from the sideline so far in the game. Jimmy Van Buren has returned to the bench. He's currently seated because this is the third mid-range free kick and second from almost this exact position that the Wolves have had in this first half. Woonsub Sim, just like the previous one from this right flank, will take. And again, he puts it right in a good position. It bobbles around and is cleared away. Bunel was the player attacking the ball. It really sat up nicely, but didn't get a goal-bound touch. And so Sydney FC clear their lines once again. Beattie has done well. Even though the fall to the ground was a little theatrical there from Henry Kanaizumi, he has won a free kick. The referee right there on the scene.
3-4-5 now, referee!
So now a wide free kick. And the set-piece battery continues here for the Wolves. I feel as though they need to capitalise on all of these opportunities here, lest they get frustrated with themselves. Never mind, leave the door ajar for Sydney FC. Olsen and Woonsub Sim having a discussion. Two in the wall. And the remaining tall timber waits inside the penalty area. Olsen out swinging free kick this time. Bit of a tangle. Referee takes no interest. Mashavecchio to the edge of the box. Quick 1-2 and then a booming first touch, and an apology comes from Alex Mashavecchio. Of course, he'll be no stranger to this venue, having been a former Rockdale player. In the blink of an eye, Sydney FC quick to break into the attack. Joe Lacey from the right. Underlapping run from De Jesus. Lacey ignores that for now. Harbas has drifted out of the penalty area. Switching flanks over to the left side. You heard the shout from Jimmy Van Buren. Now get in the box to his big number 9. Dylan Rose. Lockie Middleton. Everything slows down a little bit for Sydney FC. Can they bring a bit of speed back to their ball movement? Kucharski wiped out. And this is a free kick and shooting range right here. About 8 to 10 metres from the edge of the penalty area. And this is Sydney FC with a meaningful set piece. And if Jaden Kucharski can dust himself off after being fouled for this free kick, he may be the primary taker here to really threaten. And it would be against the run if Sydney FC were to lead. Alan Harbas has joined Jaden Kucharski over this dead ball situation. So, will it be Harbas or Kucharski? It looks as though Harbas has pulled rank. And he's going to go for power. And he's going to score brilliantly. What a free kick. Sydney FC opened the scoring against the run. And Alan Harbas has done it with a excellent free kick. Oliver Yates went flying between the sticks, but that one had power, it had placements. And there's a reason that he pulled rank over Jaden Kucharski, because that was superb. So, Wollongong kick off, and they have been made to pay for being unable to capitalise on all of their territorial and set-piece opportunities. Sydney FC have not really had a chance in open play, and all it took was one free kick. And now they are the ones who have a bit of adrenaline pumping and walking on air. De Jesus crosses, Harbas caught behind Kanizumi, and the ball is clear. Must be so frustrating for Wollongong, but the general flow of play would suggest that they're going to keep creating. There's no reason to go into their shells. Sydney FC venturing forward through the left this time. Harbas. Oh, brilliant return pass. And Sydney have got two. And momentum is such a powerful thing. Sydney FC doubled their lead. And it's a great finish from Marin France. A 1-2 with Harbas through the left flank. And he was able to make it two in quick succession. And the Wollongong Wolves have been stunned here. So, barely time to take in the first goal before the second one has arrived. And that leaves the Wollongong Wolves with quite the job to do. And Agnostopoulos. And the ball is cleared away. Kucharski off and chasing. Is there a third on the way for Sydney FC? Harvest breaking forward, as is Lacey. And Bunel's done well to break in the ball. Shavecchio. Wollongong just needs to try and exert some control back on the game again, because that was a threatening counter. That's exactly what Sydney like, especially when they have called this venue home on and off over the last couple of seasons. Bunel. Mastrovecchio back to Bunel.
Forward!
Play forward was the shout, but Olsen was surrounded by Sydney FC opponents and the ball was spilled. Lacey, Scott here commits a foul in his efforts to defend from the front against Tyler Williams. Ball over the left flank. Malcolm Middleton, can he win a corner? He can't.
Not too early, go. Just wait.
Halfway.
Lockie.
Push on.
It's okay, Lockie.
Push on. Ready, go. Beautiful take. Come on, boys. It's all right.
Kanazumi. Olsen. Magnistopoulos to Duarte. Wollongong attempting to build through midfield, but it's all been short-circuited by Sydney's most recent goal scorer, France. And the flag is up, and the shot went wide regardless, so wouldn't have counted for Kucharski there. He swept his right foot through the ball.
Give it away, two.
Looks as though Wollongong have switched their wingers. Marcus Beattie's come over to the left side, nearest to our camera.
Left shot out.
Ball is currently on the opposite side, the right flank, and Bunel not able to make any progress. Ball has bounced out. Harbas trying to spin at the edge of the box, but Kanazumi's got him covered. In comes Jarson, and a long clearance straight onto the head of Jared Middleton. Now possession taken by Rose. Lacey lost possession in the end. Olsen. And De Jesus is up the pitch, so that's why Scott has got space here to send it through from the left flank, but he couldn't pick out a teammate. Kanazumi, and now Duarte. A chance for Sydney for Wollongong to reset. Bunel. Jarson. Quick 1-2 with Mashavecchio. He keeps his feet too, does Ben Jarson. He's done well. And now he loops across, which bent out of play and wasn't coming back. So Sydney FC looking a lot more confident now. 2-goal lead in pocket. General play now far more balanced compared to what it was for the first 15 minutes or so. Could only hope you haven't seen the best of Wollongong yet today, and they do have a rally in them. I say that from a neutral point of view, of course. I'm sure Sydney FC fans tuning in to watch how the academy go will feel very differently after what's been a tough week for the club, getting knocked out of the ACL 2. Williams back to his goalkeeper. A bit of a hot potato for Herfsloot. He clears. And he had Marcus Beattie trying to close him down. Jarson back to his goalkeeper, Yates. Duarte. Beattie.
If they want to take it up there, take the throw from up there. Head back, Rosie. Rosie, head back.
Beattie watched the ball over his shoulder and now takes possession. Still Marcus Beattie, and his cross misses Scott. It's been picked up by Dylan Rose, and now Harbas helped out by De Jesus. He's going to show his speed here. Zach De Jesus. Bunel. A push. A legal push. Big size difference between the two. Bunel, the centre back, and De Jesus, Sydney FC's right wing back. And Magnistopoulos. Bending ball, which is going to send Beattie away to the left flank. And so De Jesus has the angles covered here. Marcus Beattie goes to work. Duarte. Well, he telegraphed his pass to Olsen and it was intercepted. And now the long ball here. Harbas has strayed offside and perhaps knew that as he pulled up his run with the goalkeeper advancing. Jimmy Van Veeren doesn't look too perturbed by it. If anything, he seems with his body language to be encouraging Harbas to keep stretching the defensive line.
Going too big. Going
Herfsley. Williams.
Joe, are you free?
We're going, we're fucking going. Keep going,
Sydney controlling possession now. Can they advance the ball cleanly is the question. Rose. Lacey. Middleton. Here is Dylan Rose. Went for the incisive pass to Harbas, but Sydney FC will get a second chance. Switch of flanks. That's the most recent goal scorer. Darts onto his right. Ball takes a deflection as he attempted to shoot. And Agnostopoulos up to Scott doing the bullocking work as he is prone to do. And he does it brilliantly. And now sends a releasing pass over to Olsen. He couldn't quite take it in stride, so he's had to veer out to the right. And now he's upended. And the first yellow card of the game pops out of the pocket as well. And so a free kick to Wollongong over on the right side. And Sydney FC will have yet another set piece to defend. Will Kennedy becomes the first player in the game to receive a yellow card, so he will have to watch his step from here. Can Wollongong halve the deficit? Winsub Sim and Nick Olsen stand over the free kick. Two in the wall. An acute angle. Is a direct shot on here. Olsen. Yeah, I think that was his intention, but he drifted it across the face and left it out for a goal kick.
Hey, stay come back, hey, just one more, guys.
Stay switched on, yeah. Stay switched on.
Organise it, let's go, organise it, be quiet, let's go.
Good, Sabah.
Yeah.
Good, Jay. Lots of talk, lads. Ready to go, yeah.
Plenty of time being taken over the restart here. Beyond the half-hour mark now, Sydney FC enjoying a 2-0 lead. Jarson. Long clearance, and that one actually hits the VO. Well, one of the high-performance staff is going to have to go and check the tower and the square rigging that it's been put up with.
Right on, Lacey! Lacey, right! Lacey, right!
Duarte. Misplaced pass. Kucharski.
Right shoulder, right shoulder. Left shoulder. It's a 29. Good.
Herfsley, right up the middle. Lacey, very comfortable on the ball. Kucharski can turn and play the pass, and he was collected late, and it's going to be one yellow apiece. And Kucharski taking exception to the way he was tackled there by Winsub Sim. So a yellow card each.
Try to be better.
Restart from a midfield free kick. Sydney go short and then go backwards. Jared Middleton over to Williams. Perfsloot showed the ball to Olsen, but Rose was a good outlet for him. And now Kucharski off and running. Woonsub Sim's got to be careful now. Can't go snapping at the ankles too eagerly, lest he pick up a second yellow in quick succession. This time it's Wollongong who get a foul though.
Got to get closer in that midfield. That's 3 now, Tim. You're not close enough.
Warren Grieve, as you heard there, not happy with the midfield, allowing Sydney FC too much space. Magnistopoulos solving the trouble by Beatty's pass, and the ball is spilled. No free kick, so play continues. Bunel, maybe a little ambitious. Rose intercepts. France. Oh, more byplay off the ball. Another instance where Kucharski has hit the deck. Referee, perhaps forgivable that he wasn't looking exactly where that incident happened. Now we've got another blow up over a throw in, which Sydney FC are going to take quickly while Beatty continues the argument. Lacey through ball here. Harbas offside. Oh, tight call and a good finish at the end of it. Sydney FC bench don't seem to be protesting too keenly, so give credit to the assistant referee, but that looked like a super tight call with the run of Harbas there. Olsen.
Coming out here, coming out. Good. Easy out. Mass release.
Kucharski wins the ball off Bunel. He's a lone hand at the moment though. Now a couple of runners getting forward in the middle and a bit of support coming through the left. Rose. Quick 1-2. Lachlan Middleton. Kucharski again. Kucharski, Harbas, offside, flag up. And this time it's saved, but Alan Harbas perhaps was hiding goal side of his marker there and then darted back at the last second to try and roll him. No pressure relieved on Wollongong though. They remain on the defensive as Joe Lacey wins a throw in here.
Put the space here, stay compact. Nicky right, Zach. He's on your right, Phil.
De Jesus with the throw in. Lacey, little scoop flick. Ball bounces on into the area. Azumi and Duarte combine. Olsen trying to control the ball. And Sydney FC have a free kick after Scott comes in to foul Williams.
Alan! Rosie, come here! Rosie, come here!
So Marion France has come over from the left to take this free kick on the right.
That's the ball you're there for!
He's done pretty well to spot up the run of Joe Lacey there, but he wasn't able to twist it any further towards his teammates inside the penalty area. So a goal kick, the end result.
Rosie early.
Hey, Zach! Halfway!
Tyler right.
Before, hooky.
Scott passed on to his advantage. Duarte. Scott fouled. He's appealing that it should be a card, and the referee agrees. Zach De Jesus joins Will Kennedy as Sydney FC players on a booking. So a couple of defenders now have to watch their step, and the strength of Lachlan Scott was evident there. He's won his team a free kick, and it's maybe just a little bit wider and further out than where Alan Harbas scored from for Sydney FC earlier in the half. So Win Sub Sim and Nicholas Olsen again, is a direct shot the choice, or will it be a curving free kick trying to find a teammate? Win Sub Sim. The cross is going to sit up for a second header. Scott back to goal with it all to do. Mashavecchio. A lofted pass. Bunel. Hard against the line, Harrison Bunel. And the ball does eventually find its way out. Corner kick coming up. Corner taken short. Olsen. Duarte. Olsen's offside, and the offside flag is appearing regularly for both teams in this contest. And another Wollongong attack breaks down. Will they need the half-time break to readjust here, or can they show us something to suggest they're capable of cutting the deficit before half-time? Williams. De Jesus. And Agnostopoulos. And a long back pass from Ken Izumi to his goalkeeper.
Side on! Get free! He's right shoulder! Hold in! Joe, free again, Joe! Run out, good! Stay in, run on! Hey, Scott's gonna come in! Follow me, I'm ready to see where the shoulder. When you go, yeah?
Middleton spins in midfield. Kaczarski looking forward to Jesus with a long ball, but Duarte wins the initial header. Now De Jesus is right on his case, and that hustle has been able to help Sydney win the ball back. Rhodes. Kaczarski motoring forward. Harbas able to turn and face, pushes it to France, and France is offside.
Come on, Al. Let's be ready. Let's be ready. Time now. Boy. Get out.
Just.
Joe, be ready.
Bunel.
Raise your step if you need. It's got to be earlier. Ready.
Back inside.
Duarte.
Got to be.
Magnistopoulos. Patient build-up for Wollongong, and now the long ball comes. Headed away from Olsen. Rose. And tangled with wound sub Sim. Magnistopoulos and Mashavecchio. Jared Middleton. And here goes Sydney FC. Short-lived. Magnistopoulos from the base of midfield. Marcus Beattie edged off the ball. And a physical challenge from Duarte. Olsen sends it back to him. Sebastian Duarte, the next pass all important. He's led, it's a free kick. Prime shooting position here. And we've got an injury for a Sydney FC player as well.
Just knock him out of the way, man. Hey!
Wollongong believe it should be a second yellow for Zach de Jesus, who's the player that's gone down, and he looks hurt. The question is there going to be the injury compounded by a second yellow card? Free kick right at the edge of the box. It's his right knee that's the issue, and this is a concern here for the former under-17 Australian representative. The trainer's out having a chat, and there is a degree of concern on the Sydney FC bench. They've sent a couple of players to get warm, and the fourth officials go to signal 2 additional minutes. Lucy Hungerford to go in this first half, but I think it'll be 2 minutes from the time we restart play after this treatment here. So, De Jesus is on his feet. The referee still hasn't had a chance to talk to him. Looks as though there won't be a second yellow. And it looks as though it won't be game over regardless. He appears to be moving under his own steam. But for now, it is going to be 11 versus 10. Wayne Subsim and Nicholas Olsen have tried to find a goal-scoring combination over a raft of free kicks in this first half. They haven't found it yet. Is this finally Wollongong's moment to beat Gus Herfslet and open the scoring? Dummy run from Olsen.
Watch out, Alan! Alan, watch out!
William Subsim. Bending free kick and just wide of the post. And Gus Herfslet was at full stretch. So many bodies in the way. You may have a better idea than me watching the stream of just how close that came. So stoppage time's a bit of a lottery now because we had treatment going on when the initial 2 minutes was signalled. Middleton being forced back by Olsen. Olsen charging into the slide challenge and all to concede a goal kick. So it has been an intriguing first half. Wollongong Wolves by far the more convincing team in the opening 10 to 15 minutes, and then the first goal of the game was followed by by a second for Sydney FC soon after. The first was definitely against the run of play, the second not so much. And Sydney FC have certainly held their own ever since. The offside flag has been perhaps the main enemy of both sides in this game so far. And Wollongong are going to need to reload. The absence of the suspended Raphael Leai was not a problem for goal scoring last week, but perhaps it is a bit more of an issue today. They will be encouraged by two Sydney defenders being on yellow cards, one of whom, Zach de Jesus, has returned to the pitch and is seemingly moving okay. So the initial shock of how he plugged in the turf and hurt his knee has clearly been short-lived. Here he is now against Lachlan Scott. Scott round the corner, Duarte breaking into the box, Beattie, Marcus Beattie, it's robbed off his toes, and he just never pulled the trigger. One of Wollongong's better chances to score right at the end of the first half, and ultimately there was no bang. Whether it was Duarte or Beattie, the chance to shoot was there, and neither of them took it. Kanozumi, and that is the halftime whistle. So Sydney FC are currently taking a Friday afternoon leap up the table as things stand, because goals to Alan Harbas and Marin France have them in a 2-0 lead at half-time. And what that does to the table is, of course, this is the first game of the weekend. Sydney FC would be improving to 8th on 14 points, and they would be leapfrogging Wollongong on 13 in the process. Wollongong 10th as things stand. But there are 45 minutes to go, and there's been no shortage of attacking intent in the game so far. Plus, a couple of yellow cards dotted around the pitch for both teams to be mindful of in the second 45. For now, though, from Linden, it is Sydney FC 2, leading Wollongong Wolves 0. We'll be back for the second half in about 10 minutes.
Over the top of that.
I'll get a takeaway. Awesome. Yeah, right. I'll get it. See. Well. I'll get it. Go.
Mate, so far so good. No, it definitely is. I've had the stream open in my ears on the plane. Yep.
Where did this one come from?
Big push now, lad. It's fucking hot now, yeah?
Alright, I'll bring us back to the referees in a minute.
Go, lad. We're a fucking team. Yeah, we're a fucking team. We're in this together. 45 minutes, time fucking work. Let's go. One down. One down. Come on, boys, come on.
Go, let's go.
Go, boys. Let's show how bad we fucking want it, lads, yeah?
Both teams back out on the pitch. This NPL Men's at New South Wales round 11 game about to kick off the second half with Sydney FC 2-0 up against the Wollongong Wolves. And it's going to be Wollongong kicking off to attack the right of your screens or the north in this second half as they chase this deficit. Sydney FC having taken the lead through an Alan Harbas free kick and then doubled their advantage thanks to Marin France later. So, do Wollongong have a response, or will it be Sydney FC leapfrogging them on the table in a bit of a mid-table tussle here with so many teams clustered around each other as we move into the middle third of the campaign? You wouldn't know that it's autumn. It is a warm, sunny day out of Linden, mid-20s in temperature, but bright sunshine, and it'll be hot out there on the synthetic. We'll see who fatigues first as an early defensive header finds its way back into the hands of Gus Herfslutu. It must be said his early save from Lockie Scott was crucial to Sydney FC staying in the game in the first half before they did strike twice. And a bit of defensive shakiness here to start the second half from the Sky Blues, but they're going to work their way out of the defensive penalty area and eventually concede a throw-in. Ball brought down by Scott at the edge of the area. He's able to turn and face and then quickly ushered away from the penalty area again. The two benches both shielding their eyes from the sun, even some of the subs wearing their bibs as protection from the bright sunshine, such as it is today. You'd be forgiven for thinking it was round 1 at the beginning of the season, the weather today, rather than a third of the way through the campaign already. As we see Wing Sub Sim passing back to his goalkeeper Yates, and that's going to go all the way keeper to keeper with the long clearance.
Rocky, for you to do something. Back up. Speed.
Dylan Rose, excellent in that first half for Sydney FC in the centre of midfield, going on a dash here. Now ball bent into the box, an ambitious header. The shape of it, not quite threatening the goalkeeper Yates, who's able to retrieve it and feed out to Marcus Beattie. Had a half chance right at the end of the first 45, but just couldn't free his feet in time to swing a shot at the ball. Sydney have made a half-time substitution. Matthias McAllister, the number 9, has come on. It's been one of their main avenues to goal this season. And just doing a quick scan around the pitch, it looks as though it's Jaden Kucharski, the player who has made way. So he perhaps was on a minutes plan on his return to the NPL. We've also seen Corey Cronin, the number 47, come on here for Sydney FC, and I suspect that is for Will Kennedy, who picked up a booking in the first half. So Sydney FC looking to reduce their exposure to a red. And I'm fairly sure we've got a third change that's gone through, because I do not see Zach De Jesus out there to start the second half either. I'll get you his replacement in just a moment. So it looks as though the Sky Blues, with a 2-0 lead in pocket, have used half-time to activate 3 substitutions. Reef Farias has come on at centre-back. And that appears to have reorganised Marin France out to right back. Thrown here from the right side of Sydney's defence. Olsen for Wollongong. Lacey to Harbas, driving it into the middle. McAllister, he's denied, and the ball is sent behind by a slight challenge from Ben Jarson. And so centre-backs now, Jared Middleton and Reef Farias get forward. Farias wearing the number 8 for Sydney FC. So quarter for Sydney FC as they look for a third. Farias, the half-time sub that's come on, trying to get right position, but he went to ground and now has regained his feet. Very, very crowded 6-yard box. Who will prevail? Here comes the corner kick. In swinger that is going to the beyond the far post. It ends up in a shot on target, but it's comfortably held by Yates, and an overarm throw away, trying to kickstart something. Just looking for Marcus Beattie. He's quick between the lines here. Beattie, can he find a teammate in the middle? He holds the ball up. That'll allow Sydney FC to get numbers back in defence. Scott and Beattie, a 1-2. Scott tried to slide it through one more time for Mashavecchio, but couldn't connect. And the Sydney FC defence is able to repel. This is Cronin, happy to bring the ball to a standstill. And now Joe Lacey inside for Lockie Middleton. Williams has been pushed out to right back by the half-time sub that has brought Reef Farias onto the pitch. So he is the positional replacement for Zach De Jesus.
Get it back up.
Sydney able to advance right into their attacking third. Wollongong backtracking. Is that a handball by Bunel? Oh, it looked a little bit suspicious. He definitely extended his arm out away from his body after perhaps it seemingly made contact with his shoulder. And maybe that's why the referee let him off. Olsen. Nick Olsen is getting his shot blocked, and Farias was able to chase it down. Clearance only as far as Mashivecchio. Duarte for Wollongong.
Rosie, not close. Rosie, get in front.
Olsen, and now Duarte. Seems as though he did fancy his right foot, though. He never really lined up for a shot. He just ran straight into a tackle in the end. Lacey up against Bunel. Harrison Bunel has done well to see the ball out. Third season now at Wollongong ever since making the move from Canberra. Ben Jarson, quick throw in. Win sub sim. And Agnostopoulos steering over to the left side. Duarte on his preferred left foot this time. Mashivecchio, Olsen, promising run. And Farias went to ground early. Mashivecchio. Oh, he's been stripped of the ball by an excellent slide challenge there. Habas. Pass around the corner. Jarson with the push and a foul. And that was on Joe Lacey. Sydney taking the free kick short. Rose, well, his pass back has had Lachlan Scott steal the ball away from Middleton. Beattie follows up. Mashivecchio. Is this Wollongong's chance here? Scott blocked away. Reef Farias, good body positioning, but it was preventative defending from Sydney FC after they were masters of their own demise there, giving the ball away from what was originally their free kick. Long throw. And headed away initially, and Rose has done well. McAllister not able to make any further progress. Jarson sends the ball out to the left. Cross bending in. Oh, Scott arrived late. Good header away by Middleton. Olsen, Wollongong sensing the chance to really force the issue here in their search for a goal back. Jarson's come forward, the right back. Win sub sim. Trying to take the Sydney defence out of the equation, and he wins a corner. And as we saw in the first half, Wollongong had a wealth of free kicks, corner kicks, shooting range, mid-range, and they weren't able to put any of them in the net. So has a half-time team talk perhaps come up with a winning strategy from the dead ball? Nick Olsen to take. Conventional delivery and a good header away. Harvest getting it done. First boot is a Wollongong one, but straight into traffic and cleared. And Agnostopoulos, perhaps the shortest player on the pitch, waiting back at halfway rather than up for the corner kick. And so Wollongong keep possession. Mashivecchio, Jarson trying to feed it back through, but Middleton didn't allow any further progress.
Go over, Corey.
Olsen twists it out to the right. Mashavecchio. Jarson makes an underlapping run, and that's where the ball is going. Jarson cut back Scots. Oh, much better football from the Wollongong Wolves, but it lacked the finishing touch. And that is as good a move as we've seen from them today. And the reaction on the bench was one of extreme frustration that the margin was not immediately halved. But better signs. Sydney FC on notice after the chance for Scott a moment ago. McAllister. Good save by Yates. And Matthias McAllister, who scored the winning goal last weekend, nearly had goals in consecutive games there. Sydney FC have a corner in the blink of an eye, and whatever pressure Wollongong was building is on the back burner for now. Joe Lacey going over to take the corner for Sydney FC. The sun has broken out and is again causing players to shield their eyes as they watch this from the bench. In comes the corner. Oh, at first head of Sydney FC, but the referee saw something not to his liking, and it perhaps wouldn't have counted had it found its way in due to a foul. Mashavecchio can't keep it in. Cronin. Forwards the shout, but backwards is where the ball is going. Resetting right down to the goalkeeper, Herfsloot. Rose, Middleton, both Middletons. Jared Middleton now advancing. Goes for a run, the centre-back. And then an outside of the foot pass was perhaps a little ambitious. Duarte doesn't want to leave the ball behind. Win sub sim. Beattie chasing, and Farias did well to get to the ball first. Puts it out for a throw-in rather than a corner. So Win sub sim runs over to take the throw-in.
Rosie behind you. Joe, penalty spot as well. Bit more left. Joe, penalty spot.
Long throw. And very hard to fashion a header with the way it fell there. Henry Kanazumi seemingly successfully won his team a corner, though. Flick header wasn't really an option because it was coming in at about chest height. But all's well that ends well. Wollongong stay on the attack. Olsen over the corner kick. Olsen out swinging corner, headed away off the near post. Cronin, Duarte leans in, and then Lacey clears. And Agnostopoulos.
Benny, come wide.
Yates. Moon sub sim. Beattie ironed out. Free kick. And a yellow card. Lachlan Middleton argues his case, saying it's my only foul, but the nature of it. And there is quite a height difference between the two. Marcus Beattie was sent sprawling there, and perhaps the way the arm from Middleton flung out after Beattie was out-positioned indicated enough to the referee that there was a shove.
Joe left. Don't need to in there, Joe. Just be ready for the short one, Joe.
Lacey, what's the runner? Lacey, one more step right. One more step right.
Olsen takes the free kick. In swinger it is. And the flag is up for offside, and that hurts. Wollongong Wolves have had so many offsides in this game. But at an attacking set piece, those really are killers.
Good, Jimmy. Good, Jim. Good, you. Fighting good.
Cronin slipped at the key moment. Win sub sim. Beattie. Marcus Beattie. Ben Jarson getting forward a lot more in this second half. Back to Beattie. Beattie through the 6-yard box and straight to the goalkeeper. No near post run. Able to really contest it. Herfslut runs up to the edge of his penalty box. Cronin. Oh, across too close to the goalkeeper, and that one is comfortably collected by Yates. And the overarm throw straight out to Olsen. Nicholas Olsen bending a ball. Jarson becoming more and more of an attacking weapon as the half wears on. Beattie.
Go with the Corey.
Jarson retaking possession. Beattie needs to waxing with each other. Beattie again, and now when it was time to bring a third man into the rotation, they couldn't find him. It was Lachlan Scott who was trapped behind the Sydney defenders.
Try and keep it. Lockie, get it again. Come on, Dylan.
Herfslut. Rose's pass, and the flag is up against Habas. And he's had his share of getting trapped offside as well today. And Agnostopoulos. Seems Wollongong will be turning to the bench soon as they chase this game. Kanazumi slid past Olsen and thus is yielded back to the Sydney team, but they're going all the way back to Herfslut here. Mashavecchio is going to press him. Then it's out to the right. Kanazumi, the centre back, stepping up, winning the ball. Scott, one on the left, takes on Farias, gets past him, pass inside, and Beattie's shot deflected out for a corner in Wollongong. Territorially on top. General play, they are on top. But just like the first half, they yet to have a goal to show for their control of the game. The sub, Liam Ball, is standing, well, was standing next to the fourth official, but with this corner set to be taken, he's going to wait, see how things go. Olsen's corner, in swing up, and Johnson was flying. The follow-up here through traffic from Duarte. Ben Jarson wide. Well wide in the end. Lots of bodies in the penalty area to contend with, but Wollongong Wolves, chances are starting to appear. The substitution is going to go through, and Lachlan Scott's number is up. The 24 is leaving the game. He's going to leave the captain's armband with Bannery Kanazumi and head to the sidelines to be replaced here by Liam Ball. So Lachlan Scott leaves the game. It looks as though Sydney FC are going to respond with a change of their own. Tay Headley has been readied, and I'm casting my eyes around to see if the player is leaving over on the outer side or if we are going to have the ceremony of coming across the pitch. No, it's Alan Harbas, the scorer of the opening goal of the game, who is coming off, and Headley, the number 10, comes on. So Sydney FC have now subbed on Farias, McAllister, Headley and Cronin. And the players that have left the game are Harbas, De Jesus, Kucharski and Kennedys. That's their fourth change of the game so far. So here's the sub for Wollongong. Liam Ball and Agnostopoulos. Beattie, dispossessed by the most recently arrived player in Headley. Lacey went to ground, and eventually the referee did whistle for a foul. Rose's pass, very difficult to control for Williams. Win sub Sim, dragged to the ground. No free kick forthcoming. Rose steps through. But he pushes his pass straight to Kanazumi. Yates clears in the nick of time. Ball's going to tumble on. Cleared by Cronin. Jarson.
Joey! Forward!
Wollongong on the attack. Ball. Twisting and turning at the edge of the box. Olsen now. Ball again. Hurtling into the penalty area. And on the edge of the 6-yard box, Sydney FC had all the numbers in the right position. Jarson. Wins up Sim. Kanazumi.
Keep going. Can we slide? Corey, top.
And Agnostopoulos. And he is caught in a trap. And Sydney FC, well, they were nearly away. Duarte has done well to come in and regain possession. Bunal. Ball. It's been a spark since coming on. Beattie turned right into a challenge from Headley. Headley's done well. Can't find McAllister though with his pass.
Show again. Be there. Ben. Fully. Don't come too close now.
What's left? Corey, come in. Corey.
Good.
Olsen. Not quite able to stick the 1-2 with Mashavecchio. Mashavecchio back in. Referee's just letting them play, sorting it out amongst each other. And the ball eventually finds its way over the line. Lockie Middleton is going to take the throw in. Sydney FC are going to make their fifth substitution. It's going to be Joe Kalazic coming on. And again, I'm waiting to see who's coming off here. No one seems to be leaving the game just yet. And eventually, it appears to be Joe Lacey who is making the long walk around the outer side. So Lacey off and Kalisic on, and he appears to have gone straight into defence. So a bit of a reorganisation for Sydney FC. Wollongong win possession. Sydney thought there was a foul, and now there is a foul, but it's Wollongong's way. Liam Ball wins a free kick right at the edge of the area. Sydney FC initially thought that it was they who should have had the free kick. Not forthcoming, and so Wollongong, it's been death by 1,000 cuts this game. They've had so many corners and free kicks and been able to really force a save out of Gus Herfslid. So is this finally the right angle and the right distance for them to cause some trouble?
Line up with the knee post. Lock in the line.
Win sub-sim.
Take penalty.
Bending free kick. Justin was the target. Kalisic heads away. Olsen, a volley which was struck with real power, but it caught a deflection, and that sent it sky high and provided an easy catch for Herfslid. So yet another set piece stared down by the Sydney FC defence. That's been a hard-earned clean sheet once again to this point of the game, and if they get to the finish line without conceding, third game in a row that Gus Herfslid, and I think more so his defenders today, will have really had to put in a shift. But there is plenty of time to go.
Come and get it, Corey.
Rose, Cronin slipped, Bunel, Ball. Here's McAllister. Ferris out to the right side where Sydney are looking to build. McAllister run under the return pass. Brings up Sim, went to ground. Yates. Just off the side of Beattie. Couldn't bring it into his control though. Keep it as the shout from Jimmy Van Veeren on the Sydney bench as the ball is given straight back to the Wolves. Long diagonal ball, and it goes. So the tactical setup of Sydney FC there, forcing Wollongong high and wide, and ultimately unsuccessful. McAllister tried to convince of a foul, but the referee not interested. Kanazumi and Agnostopoulos. Wins up Sim. Olsen from the left. Sydney have packed the defensive penalty area, but Olsen has successfully won a penalty. Or has he? I think the referee's saying it was inside the box. And Nick Olsen has gone and grabbed the ball and will go to the penalty spot. There were so many defenders back there, didn't really seem to be a player worth crossing to. And Nick Olsen's done well enough to lure in the defender and win a foul. And now Wollongong at last get their chance to score. Gus Herfslid has been in such good form though. You'd think he's a higher than average chance of coming up with something here. He has been the form player of the NPL New South Wales competition for the last 2 weekends. A penalty save here. Well, can he come up with something? Olsen's penalty is good. Top right he puts it. Herfslid went the other way, and the Wollongong Wolves have a pulse. They have halved the deficit And a long afternoon of knocking at the door has finally yielded a goal in the 76th minute. And there is plenty of time for them to try and launch the big finish now. And Gus Herfslet will be devastated at finally having been beaten. It's taken a penalty to do so, but a very well taken penalty at that. Sydney FC haven't done a great deal of attacking in the second half, but this might bring them out of their shell. Cronin, bending cross. It's going to be chased by Marin France over on the right. Scored in the first half, of course. His goal is now the winner as things stand. France round the corner. Can't play it to McAllister. Olsen has not dropped his head all game. He's been one of the reasons Wollongong have persisted, have kept fighting. Ben Jarson's been immense in this second half. Marcus Beattie. Can he lift? Can he lift the Wolves? Crossfield pass from Liam Ball. He's had an impact. Pass here, though, is intercepted by the centre of defence. Headley. Cronin. Farias. Duarte. Ball. Beattie watches it take a bit of an odd spin off the synthetic, but he has it under his command now. Jarson. And Beattie. Kanazumi. Wollongong have really got a sniff here. They don't want things to slow down too much. Sydney FC packed in behind the ball, wanting to contain and counter. Mashavecchio knocked off his feet. Anagnostopoulos. Same deal. Cronin breaks out to the left and just trusts his left foot around the corner. Bunel. Jarson. And now we've got a foot race on. Cronin sprinting against Jarson, but he pulls up. Didn't want to go all the way. Headley advancing. Can't push it through for McAllister. Jimmy Van Vieren starting to ride every kick on the sideline in the Sydney FC technical area. He's back to his feet, sensing that these are big minutes here. Middleton. Jared Middleton. Long ball, and the flag is up against Cronin. Offside. And Ball tries to spin through the midfield, and he does so brilliantly. Left rows behind, sets Marcus Beattie away. Beattie, can he find a teammate? He was running out of real estate, and he nearly got pinned against the fence for his trouble, but he's won his team a corner. It was Jared Middleton that came across. And Marcus Beattie was already against the fence when Middleton went crashing in too. But the end result is a corner.
Never get back in early. Never in early.
Olsen's corner. Hangs it up. Herfslet in for the double-handed punch. France into the back of Mashavecchio, who played the situation well. I think France has got a case. He was chasing the ball. Mashavecchio was hunting for a free kick, and he found one. And he's won it for his team. So the corner was cleared, but now another set-piece opportunity. Will it be Olsen's left foot again? It's Woon Sub Sim who takes the free kick. Hangs it way too high, and it's actually gone over the fence. Such is the missed delivery on that one. There's a little bit of breeze around, but the corner flags are largely dormant. So maybe we're getting the breeze here in the scaffold, but not so much at ground level. It has been a taxing, hot afternoon, a 1:30 kickoff on this Friday. Who's going to hold up the better? Sydney FC went to the bench early. They made 3 subs at half-time. They've now made all 5 substitutions. So they've turned to the bench and gone for the fresh legs and moved on to players who had cards or minute plans. Wollongong have largely trusted the 11 that started the game, only bringing on Liam Ball so far. Beattie making width on the right, and that's where the ball goes. Jarson. Ball. Liam Ball. Still running, still got attention every step of the way from Headley. Ben Jarson into the middle. Beattie. Olsen biding his time. Another very crowded penalty area to try and find a gap in. Mashavecchio sets Duarte a task out on the left. Duarte, little chip wedge, and a good header away by Kalazic. And as far as Ball again. Liam Ball took the game on and lost out on this occasion. Kazumi back to his goalkeeper. Wollongong are really upping the tempo here in the last 10 minutes of regulation time. Funeral. Word has come for another sub. So Wollongong seemingly getting 2 more players ready. One of whom is Lucas Trzeski. In the meantime, they're on the attack. Olsen, the cross in, no one home. Kalazic heads away. And Winsome Sim run under the ball. Referee says the challenge is okay on Headley. So play continues. Sydney FC bench were up in arms. Wollongong, though, through Beattie and Jarson. Well, this time there can be no arguing that foul. And he was second to the ball there. Lots of shouting, lots of instruction. Tensions are high as we approach the business end of this one. So Wollongong getting a double sub ready. Dylan Ryan wearing the protective face mask. And Lucas Trzeski next to the 4th official. Suspect they will be coming on next break in play. McAllister. Williams. Oh, I didn't know perhaps that Olsen was about to pick his pocket. And so Nicholas Olsen has the ball and has Williams backtracking. Mashavecchio fires the shot, big deflection. And Herfslund was well positioned. Caught the ball right between his eyes. And that's Mashavecchio trying to find an equaliser for the Wolves. Herfslund puts it on the ground and then clears. Caught in possession here was Ball. Yates had to come out and then Headley with a shot on sight there, but it needed to be a lob rather than a drive, and he drove it well wide. So are we now going to see this double change go through? Who's coming off for the Wolves so that Lucas Trzeski and Dylan Ryan can come on? Players are coming over to the bench for a drink, which has been a bit misleading and confusing, but it appears as though it's Winsub Sim who's one of the players who's coming off. And over on the outer side, in the shadows, is the other. So, restart of play. I believe it's Duarte. No, Duarte, I think it's Duarte who's coming off as well. So, Winsub Sim and Sebastian Duarte make way. Wollongong make a double change. Jarson, Beattie, and Agnostopoulos. Kanazumi. Olsen.
Penalty spot!
Chance for Wollongong here. The cross is lofted in, high and hopeful. And headed away by Kalazic. Clash of feet. Olsen with a volley in wide. The goalkeeper Herfsflut reasonably comfortable watching it go past his post, even though it was hands straight to the face in frustration for Nicholas Olsen as it flashed wide of the post. Now Wollongong going to give us the big finish, or is Sydney FC going to hold on?
Stand as a 6 next to Dylan. Good, Dylan. Come on. Reach, it's 10 metres back.
We're into the last 3 minutes of regulation, so the clock is Sydney's friend here, and very much Wollongong's enemy. But they are rolling downhill, trying to find an equalising goal. Jarson. Ball. Quick 1-2. Now at the edge of the box. Mashavecchio. Clever pass, but not followed up. Ball was second to it. Beattie reloads for another chance. Sebastian Duarte, who's been subbed off, is watching on as he makes his way around the perimeter of the pitch. Kanazumi. Look how high the centre-backs now are up the pitch. Dylan Ryan puts in a ball over the head of Jarson. And now an improvised volley coming from an Agnostopoulos. And it's blocked away. Headley. Sydney FC able to just take some seconds off the clock, and Tay Headley with a good run. The focus has seemingly turned almost entirely to containment. Not even contain and counter anymore, just contain at the end of this one. Rhodes. Pass finds Cronin. Sydney FC. Do they go to the corner? They continue to play their football. Kalazic. Handball. Hard against the line. It's a Sydney throw regardless.
Stay close.
Lots of shouting that McAllister was fouled. The clearance is a high up and under, which took a big bounce off the surface. Beattie slices it, and Kanazumi read it best. And so now the Wolves can probe through the left side. Ryan. Olsen, first time ball. Oh, offside flag was up. Wouldn't have mattered if Trajewski had taken possession, and regardless he didn't. So, fourth official doesn't appear to be marking the board for stoppage time just yet. Hopefully we will find out how many minutes. And up goes 4 additional minutes to end the game. So Wollongong's pursuit of an equaliser. They know exactly how long they've got. Sydney FC holding on to 3 vital points in the mid-table ball. Ball. Olsen. Nick Olsen. Liam Paul. Ball swings in across, and it's going to bounce all the way in. Wollongong draw level. And it's Liam Ball's cross. It did not find a head, friend or foe, and it bounced in for 2-2. And in the first minute of additional time, of which there will be 4, it's level.
3 points. We want the 3 points, eh? Keep playing.
So is there time for a winner? Or will the teams leave with a share of the points? Cronin and Headley. Sydney FC 2-0 up for so much of the game. Headley bounces back up. Sydney FC trying to win it all over again. Shot blocked and had most of the juice taken out of it. Jarson. Rose. Sydney trying to up the ball speed now. Beattie up against Kalazic, and now Cronin. The tussling continues. Jarson. Cronin. What a response to the equaliser this has been from Sydney. Tay Headley. Little back heel. Cronin. And, the cross is going to find its way out for a corner after all. And Agnostopoulos got the last touch just when it looked as though he'd done enough to foil Corey Cronin. And Sydney FC, if they win it here, this would be agony for Wollongong with all the work they've put in to get back onto level terms. We've had one stoppage time goal, and we're about to see another.
That's one of the worst balls I've ever.
Corner to the far post. Batted down by Yates. Through the box it goes. And play's been, it was whistled dead for a suspected head injury, and then the player concerned, Williams, bounced back to his feet and was seemingly okay. So it's going to be a drop ball. I suspect it's going to be Sydney FC's possession here as well. Last minute of the additional 4. So Sydney FC in possession. Through the right they venture. Headley. And the cross for McAllister. Cleared away by Bunel. And now hooked clear by Agnostopoulos. Last chance here for Sydney. Headley, fresh air swing initially. And then he went and really thrust at it when the ball sat up. And that will be the last act of the game. A very hard-earned point for the Wollongong Wolves, coming back from 2-0 down. And for Sydney FC, frustration. Their lead did not last until the finish line. And in truth, it was a game where Wollongong had attacked with a great deal of frustration and futility. So many corners and free kicks that went to waste, and then eventually, in the 76th minute, a penalty from Nick Olsen was what they needed to just plant the seeds of doubt in Sydney FC. And then Liam Ball, with a cross that bounced and beat all and sundry, was able to find the corner of the net and draw Wollongong level. And that's after first half goals, a free kick from Alan Harbas, and a second shortly after for Marin France. So a draw does little to change either team's situation. They are both in the mid-table mix, and they will sit back and enjoy the rest of NPL Men's New South Wales over the long weekend, as will I, your commentator Teo Pellizzeri. Pleasure to have your company for this one, and we leave you from Ilinden with the full-time score of Sydney FC 2, Wollongong Wolves 2.